The most powerful crime syndicate in history. That is what we are living under now in the United States of America, according to Donald Trump's hometown newspaper. That is the single most important fact of life in America, and it is the force that must be overcome if the United States of America is to have a future as a democracy. The United States Constitution, which is the first law of the land, was written by men and only men who believed it would then be entrusted forever to men and only men just like them. They did not write a constitution strong enough to withstand criminal intent on the part of presidents and political parties in Congress. But that Constitution is now the only shield we have against the most powerful criminal syndicate in history. That's the way Donald Trump's hometown newspaper describes his current operations. Quote, the most powerful crime syndicate in history. Harvard University continues to defeat the crime syndicate in court, much to Donald Trump's expressed irritation today.
For Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Diller, how are you doing? How are you doing with Harvard? How are you doing with Harvard? You know, Harvard's extremely discriminatory, unfortunately, and it's working good. Harmeet is on their trail, right? Good. You keep suing them. The hell with them.
The yes, sir people in that room who are oh so comfortable are showing just how comfortable they would all be saying yes, sir, to any dictator. Donald Trump and his clownish lawyers will continue to be crushed in court by the 390-year-old Harvard University, which will live long after Donald Trump and his courtroom flunkies are long gone. John Adams and other Harvard graduates were there at the birth of this country, designing the Massachusetts Constitution, which became a model for the United States Constitution, which Harvard University now uses to defeat the crime syndicate consistently. The New York Daily News says, quote, it is time to acknowledge what has become tragically obvious. The Trump administration is essentially acting as a massive criminal enterprise. It lies, steals, extorts, and murders, all while cloaked in the awesome authority of the state. It is on a crime spree that puts Al Capone to shame. This administration has murdered Rene Good and Alex Preddy, slandered them as domestic terrorists and assassins, and allowed their killers to walk free. Unleashed thousands of minimally trained ICE agents recruited with explicitly white supremacist messaging to inflict terror on people of color. Repeatedly violated the constitutional rights of citizens and non-citizens by arresting them for First Amendment protected speech, raiding their homes without judicial warrants and imprisoning them without due process, and killed dozens of civilians on the high seas solely on the unsubstantiated claim that they were drug runners, not that being drug runners would justify their summary executions without due process anyway. Released hundreds of imprisoned felons who brutally beat Capitol Police officers on January 6th, converted the once independent Department of Justice into an instrument of personal retribution via the prosecution of cooked-up lawsuits against the president's enemies, threatened to seize the territory of a sovereign nation, a NATO ally no less, and declared that legislators should be executed for reminding military personnel of their duty to disobey illegal orders. It is difficult to comprehend the level of state-sponsored criminality we are witnessing because our country has never experienced anything like it. And the Daily News did not even include in its description of the most powerful crime syndicate in history all of Donald Trump's violations of the Emoluments Clause to enrich himself, including accepting the gift of a 747 aircraft from the Middle Eastern dictatorship of Qatar. And the billions of dollars Donald Trump is making in cryptocurrency ventures and other rackets that he is running during his presidency. Donald Trump knows that all of that apparent corruption could be effectively investigated by congressional committees if and only if Democrats win the House of Representatives this year or win the Senate this year. And to prevent that, Donald Trump has not come up with a new campaign message for Republicans. He has not come up with a new economic policy. He has not reversed his economically crushing illegal and unconstitutional tariffs. Instead, he has seized the voting records of Atlanta voters in Fulton County, Georgia, to set the precedent that he can send the FBI anywhere he wants to seize any voting records, including ballots, at any time. Donald Trump is the first president in history who wants to take the administration of elections away from states and, in effect, count all American ballots cast in every election inside the Trump White House.